Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today we're going to take a look at the new DC Collectibles DC Comics Designer Series Greg Capullo Nightwing action figure. Now last week we gave you an advanced review of the Batman figure from this Designer Series Greg Capullo line, and today we're going to take a look at another one of the figures in this first wave. Now this is technically figure 3 in the wave, which you can see notated by the number 3 down in the bottom right corner of the packaging. Talon, which we'll look at later this week, is the second figure in the wave, and then the Riddler is the fourth figure. So like with the Batman figure that we looked at previously, this figure comes in the same type of window box packaging. You've got white borders, white and red borders. The Batman had white and black, so the red color is basically the only difference really in the packaging, and then the name of the figure obviously and the numbering of the figure. But for the most part this is pretty much the same packaging we see in all the figures with this wave. The figure's clearly displayed on the window packaging. You can see it from the front, and then they've got a window on the side as well, so you can see the figure from the side. And then on the other side we have some Greg Capullo art of the Nightwing character, along with the name of the figure and everything. And then on the back we see all 4 figures in this first wave, as well as just a little brief bio about what this series is about. This figure was sculpted by Jonathan Matthews. Okay, so let's get the figure open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, as I mentioned before, this figure is based on artwork by Greg Capullo, and how Capullo draws him in the Batman comic books. The figure is incorporating Nightwing's New 52 costume, so we see the all-black costume with the red highlights as opposed to the traditional blue that we usually associate with Nightwing. The figure, the paint apps on the figure for the body is pretty much a flat black. We've got a little bit shinier up on the collar, and then again on the gloves, and then again on the boots. So very similar to what we saw with the Greg Capullo Batman figure. The design of the boots and the gloves are very similar to that which we see with Batman. He's also got the things that stick out on the side of his gloves, just like you see with Batman. So you can see a very heavy influence of Batman on this design, which makes sense since Dick Grayson was the original protege for Batman. The figure comes with 2 accessories: his little bow staves that he can hold in each hand. They are removable. Now, one thing I don't like, I guess this is true to the design of the costume, but I like on the Arkham figure that DC Collectibles did, they gave little clips that you could store as little weapons on the back. You don't have any place to store the weapons on this figure, so he's either got to hold them in his hands or you got to set them aside. And also the stabs are a little bit more plain. Again, I kind of like the design that we saw with the Arkham ones. Now again, I know this is probably true to the source material, so I don't fault the figure really for it, but I just like the detail on Nightwing's weapons that came with the Arkham version, as opposed to this more basic, just nightstick looking thing with no handles or anything. Okay, so this figure stands just under 7 inches tall. He's about the same height as the Greg Capullo Batman figure, so they are roughly about the same height. Now, I'm not sure if that's accurate to what we see in the comics. I would almost think that Batman would be a little bit taller, but maybe they're about the same height. Here he is next to the Arkham version of Nightwing, and you'll see that this new 52 version is a little bit taller. Also, while I have the 2 figures together, at first I kind of thought I liked the head sculpt or the face sculpt on the Arkham version, but as I've looked at them more and more together, I really kind of think I like the face sculpt on the new 52 version than I do on that Arkham one. I don't know why, but I just kind of like the design for this new 52 version. Maybe it's the hair. I don't like how the hair kind of droops down on his face on the Arkham one. But just want to give you kind of a comparison between the two face sculpts on these figures. Just for one more size comparison, here is the new Nightwing figure next to the recently released new 52 Teen Titan versions of Superboy and Wonder Girl. And you can see that Nightwing is a little bit taller than those two. So for articulation, like with the Greg Capullo Batman figure, this figure does have a good amount of articulation, which is good. The head is just on a ball joint. There's no hinge, so you can look left and right, and he's got a little bit of up and down movement, but not a whole lot. The arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joints at the shoulder, so he's got good rotation, and he can get his arm out pretty good. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got the single jointed elbow, but he can bend the elbow pretty good. He's got a swivel at the bottom of the glove, and he's got the swivel at the wrist as well as the hinge, so he's got the up and down movement. Both hands are sculpted open so he can hold his weapons in each hand. Now, one thing I do want to caution is I did have a bit of a quality control issue with my particular figure. The joint was really tight when I first started turning the wrist at the bottom of the glove, and the joint basically snapped off, so I had to glue it back on. So just something to be careful of when you first start moving the joints around on these figures. They can be tight sometimes, and you just want to do it with care so you don't snap the joints. He's got an ab crunch joint, so he's got pretty good down movement and back. He's got swivel at the waist, so that's good. He's got the same kind of joints at where the legs attach, like the Capullo Batman. So he can't do the splits a whole lot. That's about as much as he can do the splits. But he can do his leg forward pretty good, and he can do it backwards. He's got the thigh swivel. He's got the double jointed knee, so he's got good bending at the knees. He's got the swivel at the top of the boot. And then he's also got a swivel at the ankle. And then he's got a hinge at the ankle as well, so he's got up and down movement. And then he's got one peg hole at the bottom of his feet. And you can see they've sculpted treads on the bottom of the boots as well. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I think this is a pretty good figure. If you like the new 52 version of Nightwing, then I think you will definitely want to pick this one up. Even if you're not familiar or a big fan of Greg Capullo, this is probably our nicest articulated Nightwing figure that we've gotten from DC Collectibles to date, better than the Arkham one. Very much on par with the Greg Capullo Batman figure that we looked at last week. And I think the detail is decent. The only thing I would caution is just if when you first open it, the joints can be tight, and so you don't want to just start pulling or pushing too hard, because you can snap them off. If need be, get the joints loose with some warm water or something before you really start trying to turn or twist some of those joints, because they can be delicate at times. But otherwise, I think this is a very solid figure. Nice detail, looks pretty true to what we see with Greg Capullo's art for this character, and definitely, with the added articulation, is one of the better Nightwing figures that we've seen released by DC Collectibles. So that's my review. We'll be looking at the other two figures in this Capullo wave with Talon and Riddler in the next few days. So be sure to check back for that. And until next time, I'll check you later.